Hello, fellow pen lovers and stationery enthusiasts. It's Christy here, a snarky Wordsworth over on Instagram and Reddit, and today I am going to be doing my currently inked for March. Yes, that's right, March. We are in fact halfway through, but I'm just getting to this now. That said, I'm really excited for some of the colors that I get to share today because some of them are really, really beautiful, and I haven't used a couple of them for ages, so it was a nice little reminder of some of the pieces that were in my collection. Now, I do have two holdovers from last month. That would be the Tahani Lila that I have in my Esterbrook SD in Lilac. And let's just scoot back so you can get a quick gander at that. And it's this one right here. And I have refilled this guy a couple of times, and I'm just not tired of it yet. I just really love this color. This is just such a beautiful, beautiful lilac color. I just can't get over it. And then the other one that's a holdover is the ink that I have in my trusty Travelers Company fountain pen, and that is Birmingham Pen Company's Molten Tin. I'm almost done with it. I'm thinking I might refill just because this is also another one of those inks that I'm just really, really enjoying. I only recently started picking up Birmingham Pen Company inks, and I have been absolutely obsessed. They are so wonderful to use. I've had a ton of luck with them, and I don't know, I just find the colors very much in keeping with my aesthetic. So yeah, those two holdovers, and then 8 new colors. Okay, so the first ink that I want to cover is Dominant Industries Earl Grey Tea. I know last month I had an orange shade that I just was saying, you know, it's just not the right time of year for me to use this, blah, blah, blah. You know what? It really I just needed the right pen for an orange ink, and this one and the pen I've got it inked in, chef's kiss. Okay. And I have Earl Grey Tea inked in my brand new Walltown Pens Onslow model with the Bohemian Twilight Blank and the Embers finials. I love this pen so much. And like I said, I think I just really needed the right pen for orange ink in this particular season because I have been writing with this nonstop and I really, really like it a lot. And this is just in a standard Giovo number 6 in fine. But yeah, it's a super smooth writer, and I think that the orange really, really just pops so much more knowing that there's an orange ink inside. I don't know, it's one of those things where I get just as much enjoyment out of knowing the whole process of what's actually going into my writing as much as like the finished product, if that makes any sense. But yeah, love this ink and pen combo. Okay, next up is my Sailor Yurameku Kitsune Biyori. I love this color. I have not inked anything up with this in a couple of months, and I'd forgotten how much I really enjoy this shade of sort of like a beigey pink, and it's really, really beautiful, and it works really, really well in all of my pens that I've tried it in so far, but yeah. And I have this one inked up in my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini in the Ire Gray colorway. This one is one of those pens that just makes me smile when I use it. I just love that it's so teeny tiny when it's capped, but then when you post it, it's pretty much the same size as a regular Pro Gear Slim. And I love this colorway, and it just goes so perfectly well with this ink. I mean, it is a match made in heaven. Okay, so this one has a medium fine gold nib, and if I can get to focus, even with such a fine nib, and like, it's a Japanese pen, so the medium fine is pretty fine. Even with that medium fine, you still see some shading in there, which I'm always super surprised by just because it is a very thin line. And then we might even be able to pick up a little bit more once it dries down, but I just really enjoy this ink, and this particular pen with it, it's just really, really wonderful. Okay, next up is one of my custom blends, and this consists of Ferris Wheel Press's Queen Allium with Ferris Wheel Press's Oyster Hour, and it's just a really, really lovely sort of pearlescent, beigey, purpley pink. It's just, I really, really am very fond of this color, and I've been using it a lot. So this one I have inked in my Zodiac Pen Company Virgo in the Golden Abalone, and I specifically blended this ink so that I would have it to match this pen. And it does a pretty good job of hitting those little highlights with the pinks and the light purples and then the shimmer. It's absolutely my cup of tea. So again, this nib is just a stainless steel gold plated fine nib. And you can see tons of shading. You can see some shimmer in there. And of course, once it dries down, you'll be able to see even more. But yeah, no, it works really, really well together, I think. And I've been very, very happy with it. Okay, next up is Birmingham Pen Company's Pondweed. I am surprised by how much I really, really do love this ink, and I think it's a great match with the pen I put it in. I wasn't sure what to think at first because I thought maybe it would be too dry, but nope, not at all. Okay, the pen I paired Pondweed with, that's kind of a tongue twister, is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Festival in the Koi color. And this one does have just a fine gold nib. And like I said, I wasn't sure. I'd heard that a lot of Birmingham Pen Company inks were sometimes dry in certain pens, but that has not been my experience at all with the handful that I've been trying out and using quite a lot. So I don't know if I just had a really lucky batch. I've been having a lot of luck with these ones. Okay, next up is Vinta Ink's Sailfin Green, or Ibid. This is a lovely green color with some really beautiful shimmer in it. So I have this one inked up in my Pilot Prera in the black demo colorway. And this has a CM nib. I love the CM nib. I love this nib so, so much. I don't care if it's in a stainless steel model. This thing is fantastic. And it shows off all of the qualities in this particular ink, the Ibid, so, so well. I've used this ink in multiple nibs before, like from fines all the way up to like some like larger stubs, but this CM for some reason just works really beautifully with this particular ink. And I don't know what it is, but I think my handwriting looks better in this size nib than in any other nib in my collection, which is a little bit sad. But I do just really, really like the way both the ink, the handwriting, and everything work all together in this combo. Okay, next up is Troublemaker's Copper Patina. I have actually never used this ink before. This is my very first time inking any pen up with it, and I am loving it. I got it quite a long time ago, and it's just, I never felt like the right time to use it, and for whatever reason, this month was the month, and I'm so happy I did. So I decided to ink up my Pilot Vanishing Point in the black matte with a SU nib, the Sutabu, and I am having so much fun writing in this ink, in this pen. Like, it just makes my day every time I get to use this one, so. Okay, so one con with this pen and ink combination, for me anyway, has been that every once in a while I will have a hard start. It doesn't happen a lot, and it's not so much that I've gotten irritated with it, but it does happen. And I would imagine, if we can get it to focus, and you'll see it more once everything's completely dried down, it's probably because it has an overwhelming amount of gold shimmer in it. Again, it doesn't do it very often, but I do feel like I have to mention that like hard starts could be a thing. I would definitely stray from using this in like super fine nibs, just because if it's doing it sometimes in like a stub nib, I don't know how a really fine nib would react to it. But having not used a super fine nib, I don't know for sure, but that would be my assumption. If anybody has any experience with it in an extra fine or a fine, or even a medium, let me know and let everybody else know too. Thanks. Oh, Alice from Wearingeul. I really, really enjoy this ink, but in my experience, this one is one that can be a bit persnickety depending on your nib. Even this one, the first pen that I inked it up in, it was definitely giving me a little bit of trouble as far as the shimmer goes. This does have some really beautiful gold shimmer in it. And it's quite a light blue, so broader nibs definitely help bring out the color and the shimmer. Okay, so I have the Wearingeul Alice in my TWSBI Go in the clear colorway. I originally had tried it in my Kakuno demonstrator, and even though these are both medium nibs, that Kakuno nib is just a hair thinner, so it just was not flowing really nicely. And I have put it in the Kakuno with good experiences and results in the past, so it could just have been, you know, a moment when the feed just got exceptionally clogged. Maybe I did a poor draw. It's hard to say, but it has been flowing beautifully in the TWSBI, so I'm happy in the end. So yeah, I really do enjoy this blue so much, even if it can be finicky. It works really well in this TWSBI medium. I am very happy with the results. I do think it shows a ton of shading, which is exactly what I like. You see just enough shimmer so that you get that hint of sparkle, but it's not overwhelming. It's just a really pretty blue ink that I really enjoy using. Okay, last ink of the month is another Wearingeul ink. This one is a Watery Star. I don't think I've used this in almost a year, but I really do love this color, and it's just a really beautiful blue with silver shimmer in it this time. And I'm not even really a blue ink fan, certainly not like the royal blues, but these lighter shades like this one and then the Watery Star that you're about to see, they're just so beautiful and just kind of subtle but lovely and just kind of like almost ethereal in a way. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. So this one I have inked up in my TWSBI Eco in the clear, and it kind of, you can see, walks the line between a lighter blue and a light purple. It's just a really pretty color. So this one has the TWSBI Stub nib, which is one of my all-time favorite nibs. I just think that this flows so beautifully. I think it shows off so many different inks so well, and this A Watery Star from Wearingeul is no different. Look at all of that shading already that you can see. I was definitely in a shading mood this month, I think. But yeah, it just makes it look so, so, so beautiful. All right, so these are kind of still in the process of drying, so we're going to let them completely dry down, and then I'll be back to give you close-ups of all of them so you can get like a final look and a final idea of what these inks might do in your collection. Okay, so while I was waiting for everything to finish drying down, I did add the pens and then the nib sizes just for my future reference. But I do think these are all really, really beautiful inks, and seeing them all together makes me think that this was a really great month as far as ink selection goes. I didn't have any that I was super bummed about because that's not always the case. There are definitely some months when I decide, you know, this was not the right ink with the right pen, or this is maybe not a color that I need to continue having in my collection, but I really do enjoy every single one of these. Okay, starting with that Dominant Industry Earl Grey tea. I think maybe if I didn't have that Onslow, I wouldn't love it as much as I do, but just knowing how perfectly they match together, it's just a really great ink to go with that particular pen. As I mentioned before, Kitsune Biyori from the Sailor Yurameku line is one of my favorite all-time inks. I love this color. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm super pleased with how much shading I get out of that medium fine Sailor nib. Way more than I would ever expect. My own custom blend from Ferris Press, that Queen Oyster. I really do like the way it matches my Zodiac pen, and the nib shows off all of that extra shimmer and all of that shading. And then onward to Birmingham Pen Company's Pondweed. This one is such a lovely color. I really do like it a lot. I love that sort of green gray and just a hint of pink. I don't know if it's showing up quite so well in the camera, but it's really there. And then all of that shading that I still get despite a very fine Sailor nib. One of my beloved Vinta inks, this Sailfin Green, also known as Ibid. Obviously in the swatch you see everything there, some pinks, some greens, and then that beautiful blue shimmer. But even in the text itself, the shimmer isn't popping quite so much. Even in real life, it's not popping as much as normal, and that's probably my fault. I don't always get the best draws when I'm towards the bottom of a bottle, and I am very close to being empty when it comes to this particular ink. But you do see tons of shading. Focus, there we go. Loads and loads of shading, and again, if I weren't so down to the bottom of the bottle, and if I hadn't already used, I think, a lot of that shimmer, you would see way more in there. And here's one of my new faves, the Troublemaker Copper Patina. Look at that swatch, that's crazy. And then you do still see some of that shimmer in the text and a ton of shading. Look at that. So this was the one that I'd mentioned. I do have a few hard start issues with it in this particular nib. I'm going to try it in maybe a medium or a broad just to see, like a standard medium or broad Western nib, and see if that improves things. And then if not, we'll go from there. Alice from Wearingeul, one of my old standbys. Love this color. Works super well in this particular nib, the TWSBI Go in medium. Yeah, just really beautiful. And you can see all of the shade, and you can definitely see the shimmer. And then finally, my Wearingeul Watery Star. Old school fave that I haven't used in months and months, but really a beautiful, beautiful color. Some gorgeous shimmer popping in, and then tons of shading, and just a really beautiful shade of blue in general. So yeah, those are my currently inked March colors. If this video was at all entertaining, interesting, useful, whatever, please do consider hitting that like button, potentially even subscribe to the channel. If you happen to have any thoughts, any comments, questions, you just want to strike up a conversation about ink, please put those in the comments as well. I definitely am super excited to hear what other people think about any of these inks. If you've had experience with, say, that copper patina like I was mentioning, because this is my first time using it, definitely would love to hear what nibs work very well or don't work well for this one. And, you know, any other kind of conversation you want to have, definitely just pop it in the comments. Happy to go back and forth with you. In any case, thank you so much for joining me. If you have made it to the end of this very long, chatty, inked video, you are the best of the best. Thank you so much again for joining me, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye-bye!